Hello, everybody. Welcome to Snowflake Cortex AI SQL, extracting insights from multimodal customer service data. I will be your navigator and host, James Cha-Earley. Let's go ahead and get into it. So this is a table of contents of what we're going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself once again. We'll do some housekeeping, make sure we're all together. I'm going to go ahead and get you helped get signed up, and then we'll dive into the content itself. I'll talk a little bit more about Snowflake AI SQL, what it's used for, what the great powers it has, and then we'll get your hands dirty in a lab. And then at the end, we'll wrap up and I'll tell you details about how to get your badge. I am James Cha-Earley. I like to call myself the connectors of builders. I've been in the developer community for a very long time, and I love just geeking out with folks about building cool things with great technology. So I will take you on this journey. Here is our safe harbor and disclaimers. If we talk about things on the roadmap that might be there, and they're non-committal, but a lot of the things that we're talking about today are ready to be used for you and will be put into your hands to do so. So let's go ahead and do that. So to get started, please everyone go ahead and sign up for your free trial account. Here's a QR code so that way you can easily do that. The first beginning steps are really easy to do on your phone, so you can do that. And after you sign up, you'll get this magical email that has the activate button, and that you can go and do on your computer itself. The one thing I do want to say is while you're signing up, please make sure you're using an enterprise account as well as AWS, and use US West. That will provide you the most functionality and ensure that you could do the lab end to end. So I'd like to start with this quote: like, there is no AI strategy without data strategy. And the reason why this is so important is we are moving into a world where we're providing a lot more information to our AIs and expecting more from it. And I think something that we often forget is we can't just give information to the AI itself and expect it to understand everything from it. We still got to make sure that the form factor and the details around it are very clear and understandable for any reader, but also the AI itself. So it is a big thing to make sure your pipelines and everything includes any cleanup of the data, so that way you can provide the best quality data to your AI. Especially in an age where we're looking at more analyzable data, like we're looking at structured, semi-structured, uh, unstructured with multimodal data. This goes from tables to videos to web pages to audio clips to emails, phone calls, you name it. The data is there for more extracting more from it, and we sit on a wealth of data, all of us, and of course we want to do more with it. Like, there is value in that data and we want to make sure to pull it out, and that's where AI SQL really comes in handy to make that happen. So even out there right now, 80% of enterprise data is unstructured. So diving in and trying to get the most value out of it is a huge thing. Unstructured data is growing at an alarming rate, right? 60% growth is huge, and more is getting generated out there. But there is a gap of how much data there is, and what we're getting to actually getting insights from that data. So today we'll go through the lab, and I'll give you a lot of techniques on how to do that. Some of the stuff we'll touch upon is something that you could do today, and you can get familiar with. But there are many aspects of the product and the technology that I'm going to show today that you can do so much more with. And we'll give you resources and everything to take your journey from where you are today to where you can go in the future. So getting a platform that can provide the full experience is hard. Like, there's a lot of scattered tools. Essentially, there is a tool for everything. Like, imagine going to your toolbox and it's just a dump of tools there. You could reach in and grab a tool that you need, but might not be a fit for what is a fit for one job is not a fit for another job. So really diving in and trying to get the right tools is really hard. Having a platform that can do it all is something that you would really like, and that's where Snowflake can provide a lot of those tools for make you feel get the accomplishments that you need, so that way you can move forward in a like an AI powered world. And also anything else you're doing, if you're doing machine learning, trying to extract features, so that way you can build out your own models, all these tools can support you as well. And especially on a platform that you trust already, like Snowflake, that has the data foundation. Like you have your data on Snowflake and you're putting data on Snowflake. Why not do more with that data with Snowflake? So it's unified and comprehensive. There's a lot of AI powered and automation that you can build out and utilize. Um, Analytics are driven by design. Like it's the heart of what our platform has. And then with all that, you can democratize that data, like sanitize it, provide it to folks in different shapes, forms, and views, and put it into the hands of decision makers so that way they can move as fast as they need to, all without having to come to asks all the time. Like if you've done your homework and done what you need to, then it is something a tool you could provide to folks. So unstructured data processing on Snowflake, what does it look like? So it is there to help drive intelligent decisions and make tangible outcomes at a scale with AI-ready and multimodal data. So that's what we're trying to do and achieve today. So we could do a lot of pre-processing. So if you want to do classification, splitting, you can do that. You could do extraction. So if you want any entities, the tables that you want, you could do it in text or chunk, and even do layouts. So if you have very complex tables, you can pull all that out and store it into a table yourself. So that way you don't have to do that level of extraction later. And you can also get it in markup, so it preserves a lot of those details. And I think that's something that's lost quite often when we're using like OCR tools, when we're extracting details from a page, is shape. Like shape is data, and we're losing so much of it. We also have transcribe. So if you have a lot of audio files that you want to learn more from, you can use AI transcribe to make that happen. So that way you have the transcriptions of the audio clips that you have. We also have sentiment. So once you did that transcription, if you want to learn the sentiment of what was said, then there you go. There you have it. You can find out if it was a positive interaction or a negative interaction. If it's in a different language, you can translate it, make it something that you could utilize for yourself as well as people internally. And you can also translate that back to the original language, so that way, if you need to reach out to folks in their language, you can do that as well. We also have a model for embedding. So if you're doing RAG and these other things and want to make sure you can get the associate data that way, you can do that. You can do summarization. So if you have a lot of text and want to get the highest idea from it, then you could do summarize. And then analysis. And that's the whole purpose we're doing all this stuff, right? So we want to make sure we can analyze the data. And then Cortex AI SQL can also provide that for you and help you do that. And if you're ready to move on to using Cortex Analyst, which is our text to SQL engine, you can do that. And you can provide that to agents as well and utilize Snowflake Intelligence as a layer, so that way you can get business insights and also provide those business insights directly into the hands of folks who are trying to make decisions and trying to find out more details about what is happening, all with not having to come to you every single time, go like, hey, can I have a chart for this? Like, no, just go ask SI, Snowflake Intelligence, to make that happen, and it's all there. And a lot of these are built on top of really great models out there. We have a lot of the frontier models, Anthropic, OpenAI. Snowflake has its own models that is fine-tuned and specially created for a lot of these jobs as well. But also, you'll have a lot of the open source models at your fingertips. So if you're looking for any model and you want to quickly swap out and try different executions, so that way you can find the best tool for your job, then Snowflake Cortex is the place to be. And all of this is built on security, governance, guardrails, and observability. You want to make sure everything that you're doing is very secure. It's in a governed state. We have guardrails, so that way the LLMs don't go on their own magical journey. And as well as observability, like you want to make sure what is happening is what you intend to happen, and you can keep an eye on it all. And there's so many tools for you to utilize to be able to make that happen. So we have the SQL API, the REST API. We have Snowsight, our UI that you can jump in and do a lot of these facilitations with. We still have Streamlit if you're doing visualizations or building out quick demos and websites. That's there too. And if you're building up models and doing more programming on top that you want to do, you have notebooks in your hands. So if you're really familiar with using Jupyter notebooks and other notebook tools, then you can dive in and do that on Snowflake's platform right now. So let's talk a little bit more about the tools that you have in hand. So the first one I kind of want to talk about is AI Classify. So AI Classify is a multimodal function. You can see here we're providing an image and then providing some classifications that we could use. So AI Classify, like I said, being multimodal, one, you could do images, but you could also do text as well. And this way you could do classification across what you have in terms of data, in terms of your multimodal data and structured data across the board. So if you want to go through a bunch of images from your warehouse very quickly and see if they're damaged and not damaged, then there you go. You can utilize AI Classify, run through all the images you have, and get a learnings of if they're damaged or not. We have AI Extract. This is a great way to extract certain data from like PDFs, images. Again, this is multimodal. I do want to go further into this later on, but just a quick introduction to it. But and also, what you could provide is a way the answers you want from the PDF itself. So here we have this doc, this filing, and then we're looking for like, oh, who's the CEO and what company are they talking about? And here you see it's a CEO is Serdar. The company is Snowflake Inc. So if you're trying to find particular data points from the information that you have, then there we go. You can use AI Extract to make that happen. Next is transcribe. I talked about this. If you have a MP3 WAV files, just audio files of your customer service calls or interactions that you want to transcribe, so that way you can do, you have something analyzable, then AI Transcribe is there to make that happen. And AI Transcribe is also multilingual, so that way you could transcribe multiple language as well. And here we go. And we could combine that with other tools that we have, like entity sentiment, and then see if the call was professional, like if the waiting time was at a stage where it's positive, so we could get a lot more data from it. Again, maximizing the data you can get from the data you already have. Then next is it being part of SQL inside Snowflake makes it such a powerful tool. Like you see this select statement here. Here we're using AI Complete. We're providing a list aggregation as within the files, and then we're giving it a prompt going like, hey, summarize the material issues. We're gonna get a table from like the table that we have, and then we're gonna group them by product name. So we have them all together, and that's something simple, be able to easy to use and get a quick glimpse of what you have. And that's another big thing that I do want to emphasize is, as much as like pre-classifying and processing all the data within our pipeline to get it ready for things, you get quick insights into what your data has by utilizing this. Wherever you would use a SQL statement to get understandings and gain knowledge, you can quickly lean on AI SQL to make that happen, utilizing all these different functions, as well as tap into the power of the LLMs with AI Complete. And this really changes how we look at things, where we had all these manual pipelines to be able to make this happen for ourselves. We can quickly lean on a simple tool to make this all happen. And this is for additionally to like optimize performance, accuracy, and cost. We have this simple question like, join the news and events to my trading screener. And we have this select statement with AI SQL to make that happen. We are using AI filter that can filter out data that is in natural language that we want to be able to find out. Like we don't have to do manual comparisons for our joins. We can actually go, hey, filter by using this. And that's a powerful tool, so that way we can, one, reduce costs, the operational costs, the performance and get the accuracy significantly higher by doing all these things. And it brings all that information into your fingertips really quickly and easily. I'm going to go back and talk about AI Extract again. The reason why that I wanted to come back to this is it has so much potential and possibility for it. So it is very easy to use. Like the one we're familiar with was either we gave it a file or a text and we can ask it for certain information points, and then we can get that. Additionally, I talked about images. You can actually provide an image to AI Extract and pull out the details from there. So here I have an image of the chalkboarded menu that this restaurant has, and then plot the daily specials, get the coffee price, and figure out what the cheapest dessert is, all with a SQL statement, which is beyond nuts in my opinion. So why choose Cortex AI to make this all happen? Why process with us? One, it's easy. It's simple, composable SQL queries. So if you're a SQL wizard, then you already have all the knowledge in your fingertips. And it's about utilizing these tools built in, connect and analyze the data you have. It's connected. It's integrated into your structured and unstructured data already. You can pull out and add to your tables, create more views, create other tables with the information you do have to gain more learnings from the data. And it's trusted. The built-in security and governance built on top of the granular RBAC system means you can have confidence that people who should have access do have access, and also maintain your cost as well. So all these tools that you've leaned on Snowflake already are all built into Snowflake Cortex AI. So I'm sure you're all eager to get your hands dirty into actually getting your hands on the technology itself. So let's go ahead and do that. So hopefully you've all signed up for your accounts already. You're up and running. You chose the right the cloud provider. Again, please make sure you utilize AWS US West when selecting, and use the enterprise account. Okay, so here is the URL that for you to go to the quick start that we will be using and leaning on. If you ever get lost in any of the steps, you can lean on that and go find those details. So you can go there. Today, I'll be walking through providing those steps to you, and we'll walk through each one and we'll talk about details about what is happening, so that way you know next time when you're building something that you have the full details. So I'm going to jump over so that way we can go into the quick start itself. So let's go there. So once you're at this quick start, you'll see the overview of everything that you're going to learn, what you need. Go to setup. Go download that setup, that SQL. We're going to use that very soon, so go ahead and do that. And also, while you're there, there will be a notebook file as well. So go ahead and grab that. So next, we're going to jump into those two steps of getting everything set up, as well as jumping into the notebook. I've done some behind the scenes cooking, like every great cooking show does. So a lot of my stuff is set up, but I'll walk you through what is happening, so that way you and I are on the same page. So let's go ahead and jump into that setup, that SQL that I mentioned for you to download. So here we are. Either if you want to utilize worksheets, that is a tool that we still have, but we are making this migration to workspaces, which is your all-in-one IDE within Snowflake. So if you're using workspaces, should look really familiar to you. If you're using classic worksheets, you can go ahead and use that too. Essentially, what we're doing is gathering all that data from that setup, that SQL, open up on your local machine, then copy paste it into a SQL worksheet or workspace. So here we are. Like I said, like every great cooking show, I've done this already. Here, we're going to create the database. If it's not there, we're going to end up using it. We're going to create the schema, and we're going to use it. See this alter account set Cortex enabled cross region to in any region. What this does is if there's any other models as well as functionality that is available for other regions for Cortex, then we're going to enable it all. We want our hands on every single tool that we can, so that way we can maximize the value we can get from our data sets. We're going to go ahead and create the S3, connect to an S3 bucket to be able to pull in the data. We have some audio files for you to play with of customer service calls. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to create a file list so we can go through every single file that we have in that directory, and then do some maneuvering to be able to access those files. We're going to go and create a table called transcription results. We're going to put all that together. And then we are going to create this table for our table data I provided to you. And those end up being chat logs as well as support tickets. And somewhere in here that I forgot to mention is we have company documents. And these are like FAQs for our customers as well as internal folks. And to back up a little bit, our purpose of doing this is you are running a customer service center and you want to make self-serve content for your customers as well as understand how your customer service reps are doing in audio as well as chat. So that's why all these tools come together, so that way we can make that happen. So once we did all the setup here, we are going to dive in over to our notebook. So how you want to upload your notebook, and let me quickly show you. Again, I've done cooking show magic for mine, but you want to import your notebook file. You can go ahead and do that, and then that will open up to this notebook file. And I am going to start my session. You will be asked about what to use in terms of the notebook settings. And there you just want to use the runtime that is provided. You pretty much can just click yes after you provide the name of the notebook itself. Okay, here we are. We're in this notebook. And let's go through it. The first thing I want to show you that we want to talk details through is actually something that'd be great for all of you to do is once you start the warehouse itself is just go ahead and run all cells. Some of these cells take a little bit of time because there's a lot of data, a lot of processing to do. So might as well get it started so that way once we get to the cell, we can see the results we can talk about the results, the magic that happened. So in this first cell, I wanted to show you like the composition of what a multi-step SQL statement could look like. In the next following cells of this notebook, I did break it apart so that way we have an opportunity to talk through them one by one, so that way you understand what is happening. But this first one you'll see is it's a chunky fellow. Like it's quite long. There's multiple steps that's happening, but it is not that complex as much as it looks like. Like what we're trying to do is we created that table, transcription results. We are going through every single file that is in that stage that we made that has all our customer calls. And then we're going to provide it to AI transcribe because we're going to do transcription. Some of the other details I provide to AI transcribe is like how granular I would like my timestamps. And here I chose to be speaker because I want to know who's speaking, because there is a client and customer and our service representative. Like we want to know who's talking throughout the thing, so that way we can understand what the conversation was like and who was saying what. Then once we do that, we're going to get the transcriptions. We're going to aggregate the full transcript, and that will provide us a way to send it to translation. So if they're speaking a foreign language that we're not familiar with, we can translate that into English. So here I have this AI transcribe function that essentially translates it to English. We're going to do some classification here and get the sentiment. A lot of the tools that I talked about in the slides we're going through and utilizing. And then then we're going to use AI complete to do a summarization of the call itself. So that way, if we're just trying to get a quick glimpse of what is happening, we can go ahead and do that. So as you see, because we are going through so many files, like even though it's a small data set, it's 101, it is taking some time. So I'm glad we clicked do all, so that way it just runs through all the cells. As you see here, we inserted 101 rows into our table. So I know I started going to breakdowns already, so let's go through those again. So the AI transcribe, providing the calls over. I am choosing the granularity I want, which is speaker. Then once we have those transcriptions, we are actually flattening that transcription, so that way we can provide that all as one string instead of having multiple chunks. And this part does take a while, the transcriptions. Thankfully, I've done this before, so we have some details already. So these are the transcripts, and we're doing the translations from them. I've already flattened them here, so you could see what the flattened audio looks like. Here's a full transcript of them talking back and forth. If we want to do translation, we can go ahead and do that as well. So we are doing the translation. We got that audio. We got the audio file. We did the transcribe them all. And then now we're going to get a translation from the full text of whatever language it was to English. Then we want to learn the sentiment of the call. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we have the transcription itself, the full transcription. We have the translated version, and then we could figure out the sentiment. So overall, the sentiment of the call, this first one was negative. The second one was negative. Our third one was negative. Our fourth one was also negative. But the fifth one was positive. Like, let's see how that call went. We could see actually what was transcribed and see how the call went, and how they were able to resolve it and get a full understanding. And at the very end of the day, it was a very pleasant conversation. Let's see one of the negative ones. Like, we want to make sure that we aren't being misrepresented in this. They're calling. Of course, there we go. Sentiment works quickly, thankfully. And we can go through, like, they're calling about their insurance policy. They're confused about something, but there was an increase of 30% on their premium. Like, that is quite a bit. And they're having this conversation about why that was happening and looking up the details and providing that full experience of how dissatisfied they are about this situation. So that is what is happening within that conversation. So it sounds pretty negative to me. So let's go to classify. So once we go through, have the translations and the transcriptions, we understand some of other details. We do want to make sure to label them. And some of these calls are likely labeled by your customer service reps, but we want to make sure that we either do deeper classifications if you want to, or we can make sure we identify them in a way where we can consolidate them with what the agent has represented. So just to make sure everything is in a state where we can utilize it. So here you'll see that we want to make sure that the label we want is the fraud and security issues, the description of what we're looking for within that we're providing. And then we're going through and doing the same thing. So for fraud and security issues, that means it's unauthorized transactions, identity theft, account freezes, fraudulent charges, technical system errors like auto payment failures, system glitches, login problems. And then for payments and transaction problems, the description is duplicate charges, failed payments, processing errors, fee disputes, rate increase. This provides us a way to classify and give description of what the classifications are, so that way the AI classifier has more details to work against to be able to do it. And overall, the task description is classify customer service calls into issue categories based on the main problem that's discussed. And we'll see here that all the calls that we had Let's look at the two that we looked at. One was the positive call that we were able to resolve was it ended up being a technical and system issue. And yeah, it's looking like there was settings that weren't properly done that created the issue, so the technical issue. And the one with the premium, it was increased by 30%, ends up being a payment and transaction problem. So categorically, it ended up working correctly. So next is AI complete. For this one, we are going to do a what we described as the action that we want is to summarize this call in 50 words. So we want a short understanding and short summary of what was talked about. So let's look at the two that we've been working on so far. The customer called about a 30% home insurance premium increase, which, yeah. Marie explained that it's because like the risk and evaluation, the policy language changes. The customer was frustrated as they were a long-time customer and didn't have the details about why this was happening. So there ended up being an escalation to follow up on the new premium. This is great. Like we can quickly get an idea without having to fully read the full conversation and get an idea of what we can do. And this provides a really great way of maybe in some of these situations, we didn't provide the right messaging out when things were happening. So that way they can knowingly understand why this was happening before they can get angry or before they got frustrated about the situation. There's opportunities for us in terms of providing more conversations with their customer service rep if there is situations where they could de-escalate it or escalate it to a manager or someone faster, so that way it could be resolved faster. So with that, we're going to combine them all and again put them all into one table itself. We made a lot of temporary tables, so we're just going to drop all those and then we can see the results themselves. Something to note, as you can see, I've run this multiple times and we haven't deleted the table. That's why there's 404 results here instead of the 101 with the files we had. You should see 202 because we ran it the first time all the way through and then we did it again for the next 101. So just know this is my pre-cooking coming up and biting me in the butt a little bit. So that's why the results are so much higher. But you should see 202 there. So we have all these details, and this is great. And now we could do more with it. We can utilize these. If you're someone who's doing machine learning, we have another session that I was part of that we actually took these files and these calls and then made a model out of it so that we can created a coaching, utilize it as a coaching service for customer service reps. And I did that by providing and utilizing different models and creating my own model. And these are a lot of the features that I use to build that model. So things are very handy for me able to make that happen for myself. The next thing that we'll do is process PDFs. So we have multitudes of PDFs at our company. Some are related to providing details to our customers. Some is more internal for our customer service representatives to utilize in conversations with our customers or just information they need to know. And we want to make sure we parse those documents and get a lot of the extractions and understandings from it. A great tool with this is AI parse documents. With AI parse documents, I could provide the files themselves and then the mode. You have multiple different ways to in options and what kind of mode you want. Here I chose layouts. And then also I want the pages to be split. So if it's a multi-page document, each page will be its own informational structure. So that way I know which page is what. And the layout mode is a very powerful tool. And the reason I say that is I worked at a company where we would process hundreds of thousands, millions of documents. all the time. And those documents were either invoices or more complex structured documents that had really complex tables, like multi-row, multi-columned tables. And if you flatten that, you lose so much information. But with layout mode, you can actually preserve a lot of that information and all that information, so that way you understand that this information that you got was part of this table, this column, which was that was a sub column for another column. So that way all that information is preserved, so you have a better understanding of the document itself. And it's not just some set of strings that then you'll have to understand and see what you could do with it. It preserves that structure, which is huge in my mind. So as you can see, we've gotten all these different kinds of PDFs, some common issue ones, some other ones about logistics and our freight companies, details. And here we are. Here is the document that has been parsed. So this one has 5 pages, and each page has some content. I'm assuming this first one is most likely the cover page of whatever document this is. Next, we could say it's a table of contents. The content itself, it talks a lot about the details of what we're talking about, the server itself and what the common issues are for it, and having some understanding. Here's the content about like the quick diagnostics metrics. So if you want to quickly look through those things, you can. And again, it's keeping the structure. And why you see these like hashtags and these lines and these things within this context is because it preserved them with Markdown. And Markdown is a way for us to preserve what that structure looks like in character form. So you could see that we have like the double hashtags for the smaller titles and so on, and all that. And that's page 3. Then we have more, like we have transcriptions, we have all these details, and we have them on all these page forms. So if we from this we can go like, oh, we don't really care about the front page because we have that. The table of contents is maybe important information we want to store and so on, and we can make the decision of like, oh, maybe we don't need the first page, or we can just keep them all, and then we can extract that data out into a form that we want. So we have all that preserved and usable for us. Next, something I want to go through is we have 2 sources of unstructured data as well as somewhat structured data. Like support tickets are pretty structured. They may have an unstructured detail to them where the customer service representative or the customer is filing the ticket themselves and the description and everything. Here, I want to show that we can combine those tools together, where we have these chat logs from the customer service reps that are having conversations with our customers, and then building out the tickets themselves. So the things we want to learn, a couple things from it to be able to make that happen. We want to make sure that the accuracy across the board. When they classify something as resolved, is it resolved? If they classify something as a payment issue, is actually a payment issue. We want to make sure that all these things, all these classifications, all these self-reported things are accurate. It provides us a coaching opportunity to go back and be like, hey, when we're building these tickets, when we're having these conversations, please label them correctly, so that way we can make things actionable, either more training sessions or even celebrate the great success that our folks are having with dealing with our customers and conversing with them. And also, if there are very repeated things in terms of our items, the things we are providing as a service is at the level that we want to as well. All this can be an automated way to make that happen. So with that, we have all these conversations that have put into have been put into our tables through the conversations that our customer service reps have done. So from here, we're going to go through and because the conversation between the rep as well as the customer is a back and forth, we're going to flatten those conversations. Then we're going to go to classify. So yes, they've classified it already. So there's a self-reported category that is already there. But we are going to do AI classify to go like, hey, here, classify this conversation into these. And in this situation, we did a simpler step. We just provided the choices themselves without giving more labels and more details. We felt it was pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward, and AI classify should be able to handle it. So we did it this way. So you can do more or less. Of course, you will see better performance by providing more details, but there is this option. If you, hey, look, if you and I just exploring to see how to make this happen, this is a great way to do that. Then AI sentiment. We're going to take the sentiment of the full conversation. As you see here, that we do have this opportunity for the customer service rep to self-report the sentiment itself, and how they felt the call went. But we can utilize AI with AI sentiment to find that out ourselves. We also have AI extract. AI extract, we utilized this before. We want to see the issue description, the product name, error message if there was one mentioned. Was there a resolution provided? The customer service satisfaction indicator, like do they seem satisfied? And if there's an urgency level that we didn't recognize or the person didn't recognize while having the conversation. So we're going to do all those things. Here's some additional work that we've done. Something that we noticed was when we did AI sentiment, that it provides 4 distinguishing ways to provide a response, which is positive, neutral, negative, and mixed. Where our details for the self-reporting, like the choices they had were, was it a positive, neutral, negative, very negative? So to be able to handle those differences, we got to normalize that data itself. So that's what we do here. And then once we do that, we also want to make sure if there was we want to flag if there was any mismatches, and that's what we're doing here. Like I want to flag any categories mismatches, so that way, again, training opportunity or celebration opportunity. The sentiment itself, and we want to give descriptions of what those reasons were. If it's a mismatch, categories mismatch, or a sentiment mismatch, or there was a mixed sentiment, like it wasn't really clear what's happening, or in terms of the sentiment itself. So here we do that. So we have the information. What we have is the customer name, the agent name, when it happened, the self-reported categories. So we can take a look at that, and the sentiment itself, the resolution status, and the full conversation. And then we can see what the classification that the AI came up with. So this first one, technical support, which worked out. And then the sentiment itself, they seemed frustrated, which was a negative, which makes sense. So here we could see what the response looks like in terms of the extractor features. There was no errors. Like we were able to find everything. So the customer satisfaction indicator, they were not satisfied. It sounds like the authentication failed. The issue description it sounds like they're having connection issues, as well as like the product name and what was needed to make that happen, to resolve the issue, which was resetting the network configuration, which could be a bad experience for a customer. So this provides us a way like, hey, maybe our documentation needs to be better. What we provide to the customer and be able to do self-help and resolution to things could be better, and maybe we make a guide about how to reset, like what error codes you see and then resetting the network configuration. So it sounded like a lot of the things matched, so it was not flagged across the board. So that's great. Like we things are, people are self-reporting, and as well as what the AI says is matching. So that's great. Next, we want to make sure our chat logs with our tickets that people are submitting all matching up to. Like they maybe misreporting or misaligning things across the board. So we're going to use AI to help us do that. And we're going to use AI Complete to make that happen. We're going to use Cloud Sonnet 4.5 to make that happen. I want to pull out all this data from it. So like the subject, the ticket, the descriptions themselves. We're providing all that data to AI Complete, the Claude 4.5 model, and all the details of the chat themselves and what product they talked about and the chat category. And this is where the bigger portion of the prompt comes in, which analyze if the ticket and chat are the same core issues. Consider if it's the main problems the same, are they talking about the same product and service? Is the technical issues consistent? And it would tell it to provide JSON. If the alignment itself is aligned, misaligned, partial, what the confidence is, as well as some explanation of what the differences are and why this is severe, the severity of it itself. So we're doing all that, bringing it together. We're parsing the JSON that we get back from AI Sentiment or AI Complete, utilizing Claude 4.5. And let's take a look at what the results we got. So we're seeing across the board, like a lot of things are aligning, which is great. Let's just go to the end and see if something could be wrong. So we see this first one is partially aligned. So there's some reason why they weren't in terms of what Claude thoughts is not aligned. So both involve the server itself, connectivity issues, which is great. So the problem, the difference was the ticket describes intermittent failures affecting it, but the chat describes authentication errors. So something went wrong. We either within the chat itself, we didn't grab the right data. If we're automating a lot of this stuff, if it's the customer service rep putting in the data themselves manually, they're not copying the data correctly in terms of information. The root cause seems different between the two. So there's an opportunity again, go like, where did we go wrong? Is some of our other automation tools going wrong by making this happen, or is it an opportunity to share the importance of why making sure everything is aligned is important? So, but with this one, we have things are great. Like things, the chat itself, as well as the ticket itself, is aligned, and we could see like, oh, this is really misaligned in terms of the details themselves. The alignment reason: the ticket requests enhanced reporting and CSV features for a billing dashboard, while the chat discusses automated backups. So something really went wrong between the two. And here we have like a very simple true and false like check mark to see like what places went wrong. If it's been flagged, again, it's issue misalignment as well as the product mismatch. So it seems, at least looking at the top 5 here, there are definitely opportunities for us to go back and come up with a way to, one, there's opportunities for us, one, reward folks for doing such a great job, but also a coaching opportunity so that way all of us can get better. And we can take these details across the board of documentation, the customer service reps, maybe it's more tooling they need to be successful. Maybe we're providing the wrong tools and documents when they're looking for the way to resolve certain things. And we're just not giving them the right tools to make that happen. Like we can find gaps in terms of our process to make it more streamlined for everyone. So that's us going through the lab itself. And here you learned so much about AI SQL and the power it has. And like I said, this is dipping your toe into it. Like we have the opportunity to also go through images, which we didn't show here. Like doing like if a customer said like my server is on fire. Here's a picture of it. We could have went like, is server on fire? Uh, those are the things that you can utilize with AI extracts that we haven't seen here and I haven't showed you, but there are plenty of opportunities with our other quick starts and documentation to make that happen. And with that, let's recap what we've learned. So today we used AI transcribe to convert audio recordings into text. So trying to extract all the learnings from the data that we had. A lot of them calls were actually in different languages that we didn't understand firsthand. So we went ahead and translated it using AI Translate to translate it into English. From there, from the transcriptions that we had that were translated, we wanted to get the sentiment. We wanted to see if the call was a good call or a bad call. This could provide opportunities to, one, interact with our customers better, as well as understand and identify opportunities that we can work with our staff. Either it's maybe they're burning out. We can get an understanding of all that. You can use AI classify to do automatic categorization. So if your classification of the calls themselves, be able to sort them into a way where we can put them into categories of is this call for a transcription? Is this call for a issue with a transaction that happened, or is it a product issue? We can go through all of those and classify them. Next is AI complete. We used it for summarization here, as well as to get an understanding of alignment across the board of what was said, what was written, and what was shared, in terms of did we get the right extractions and knowledge in terms of the product feedback, the issue itself, and again provide more insights into what we can do next. Then we use a very powerful tool called AI parse document, and I can't say enough that how important preserving that structure is. It is crucial to understand what the nested columns are, in terms of a table, and be able to keep that layout itself. I mean, we do things with a purpose. We don't make PDFs and things like that, just lines of text. Like there is meaning in terms of where things are. And then we use AI extract, be able to take extractions of the data that we wanted. So we've learned a lot of details about the calls themselves. We extracted important parts of data so that we can help identify the call and what they were looking for, in terms of the problems they've had. Like we've captured all that data so that way we can do more with it. And like I said, I've actually created a model utilizing AI extract as a way for me to do and get the features that I want from those calls to be able to do something with it. So very, very powerful tool. And all of this we did in SQL. Like if you're a SQL wizard, as I've been saying, like these tools are now at your fingertips to do more and learn more. One, we could do a lot of pipelining and getting extractions there, but maybe you're just curious, like at a moment and go like, I want to learn more about what data is in my databases and get some understandings from it. It's right there for you. And with that said, like we are done and you are done. You've accomplished it. Once you get your badge, I want to celebrate what you've done. So tag me, find me on LinkedIn, tag me, put this on your social media, put this on LinkedIn so that way you could share the news that you've gone through this bootcamp and learned something great and upskilled yourself in terms of using AI SQL through either pipeline management and be able to extract more data from it and get more insights from it, or if you're just a big learner and just want to share that what you've learned and encourage other folks to go and do it themselves. And to kind of close it off, the resources. Here's a quick start again of what we did, so that way you can go and take a look at it again, go through it again if you need to. Make sure that you have 2 attempts to do that quiz, so make sure you have everything. And then there's more resources at quickstarts.snowflake.com. There is plenty out there, so if you want to take your learnings further, you could go ahead and do that. And then docs.snowflake.com is a great place to get more learnings as well. Maybe there's a technology that you're not familiar with or want to learn more, or even technology that you haven't heard of. And that's a great place to find out those technologies and learn more about it. So with that, once again, there is that link to the quiz itself. Again, the date is November 30th, 2025 for you to take that. And with that, I just want to say thank you for being here with me, and happy building, everyone.